Let me commit a cardinal sin today and defend what is generally indefensible in the YouTube/streaming world. Pedophilia. No, only joking. I don't have to defend that. It's pretty popular in the YouTube world. Seems it's every second creator's side hobby, isn't it? Which, guys, can you just get a normal kink like mine? Ophidiophilia. You can Google that in your own time. No, what is indefensible in the YouTube community is doxing. But I'm a polemic. I'm a man on the vanguard of popular opinion, and today, not only am I going to defend doxing, but by the end of this video, you'll reassess your fluoride stare opinions on movies that have been wrongfully slandered for years for being too sophisticated and too ahead of their time. And if you don't like it, as Guru Pitka from the 2008's soon-to-be sleeper comedy cult classic, The Love Guru once said, if you've got an issue, here's your tissue. Oh wait, was that Austin Powers, Dad?
If you've got an issue, here's a tissue.
Well, the point stands, as does this point. Mike Myers lives at 503 West 2nd. I know you think this is a joke, but seriously, rewatch or watch The Love Guru. It is a sign that something is deeply wrong with society, that we collectively delude ourselves, pretending most Netflix stand-up specials are adequately funny, but we also ended Mike Myers' flawless career because we wanted to pretend that we were too smart to laugh at a fake Indian man making midget jokes.
You are a midget.
I find that term condescending.
Condescending? That's a big word for you.
Well, that stops today. I'm not above it. Now play the clip of the midget kicking him in the nuts. Oh, come on, rewatch it. You're either a liar or a stone-cold psychopath if you can't admit that it's funnier than who we think is smart comedy now. Bo Burnham? Fuck off. Seriously, is this what passes for musical comedy now?
I can't really play the guitar very well.
What is this self-conscious shit, that funny feeling? How about that funny song, Bo? I want Guru Pitka's Bollywood parody of 9 to 5. Look, he sticks his head up his own ass. I'm not being facetious either. That is funny. Can we stop thinking about this shit so much and just go back to trusting our immediate gut responses? No? Oh well, it was worth a shot. I'd also like to get on the record that you're either a liar or a stone-cold psychopath if you pretend that reporting on a coordinated campaign to manipulate public opinion, which aggressively slanders and targets Australians on behalf of a foreign country, is the same as doxing. But surprise, surprise, that's exactly what the Australian press has been doing. It's not even a new phenomenon. In fact, it seems to be half the articles written by the mainstream media in the West ever since Trump won, manipulating the amorphous and mysterious nature of new internet buzzwords, deliberately redefining them to push for a clampdown on their ideological, material and spiritual enemies. It's journalists attempting to get governments to legislate their way into people sharing the same set of values as the very narrow set of values held by themselves. They did it with trolling, cyberbullying, even concepts as nebulous as bad movie fucking stopped us from getting the Love Guru 2. There was going to be a franchise! Do notice, though, that there are never any calls to regulate what is, in essence, the exact same behaviour when it is approved by the editor of a major newspaper. No, it's again just another boring display of the media class's contempt and fear of the minimal amount of equality the internet has provided normal people to spread their ideas to the media. What has emerged is this terrifying, impenetrable, stubborn frontier of popular opinion. Opinion's what they used to have a monopoly on. Now, information is being spread without complete guidance from those who know better. So what do the press do? They make a fake crisis and launder this fake crisis through a new word which now makes an old phenomenon seem like it's new to their geriatric audience. The crisis du jour at the moment is the word doxing. New York Times journalist Natasha Frost leaked the contents of a WhatsApp group titled Jewish Creatives and Academics. Now, quick disclaimer, this wasn't released through the New York Times. It was distributed mostly on social media, which is why the press is so fixated on this leak. Jewish Creatives and Academics is also kind of misleading as a title, as going through the contents of the WhatsApp messages, the determining factor in your membership of this group was not being Jewish, but being slavishly devoted to Israel, even being willing to target and slur moderate Jewish critics of Israel. This is what one of those messages says about Anthony Lowenstein, a Jewish journalist and critic of Israel. Lowenstein has always been a self-hated Jew with an agenda against Israel. He has no credibility and has a very dark history against the Jewish state. Of course, he would receive a positive review at the SMH. What else would you expect from a publication with such a history of generating hate against Israel and the Jews? Another message proclaimed, Anthony Lowenstein is not just critical of Israeli policy, he's rather vile about Israel. So I would beg to differ. If you can see nothing good about the democracy of Israel, Israel and hold it to standards different to any other country in the world, I would feel comfortable saying that you're a self-hating Jew or anti-Semite. And Lowenstein is appalling. His whole career is based on being rabidly anti-Israel, which should give you enough of an idea that this isn't just a Jewish group chat open to all opinions from all Jews. But did you know that by me reading these messages, according to pro-Israel groups and their allies in the press, that's doxxing? Here's an example. Stuart Cohen, journalist and one of the founders of the WhatsApp group, has been writing articles in the AFR and Times of Israel demanding police take action against people who shared these messages, with all the confidence of a first-year law student claiming that sharing the messages could be a breach of section 47417 of the Criminal Code, using a carriage service to menace and harass. This is despite most of the leaked messages being calls to harass pro-Palestinian people on social media, of course, along with other classics such as sharing petitions demanding people get fired for wearing Palestinian flag badges, and even calling Muslim protesters subhuman. Let me read this part, it's particularly hilarious. It's a load of bullshit. They could arrest and charge and let the judge decide if there is a case. The act of arresting would be humiliating for these subhumans. Even if it was thrown out of court, it would show the authorities are serious. But they are not, and they are a disgrace. They are as weak as shit and have shown it all along. No one was arrested at the Opera House except for the Jew. The police minister is weak as shit and out of her depth. So is the police commissioner. To which the response is, can we actively do something about this? And was also responded with, terrible language. But it is alarming. I can't understand why they are not acting. Maybe they are being intimidated by local Muslim terrorists and thugs. There is a lot of criminal elements in the Muslim community, i.e. the bikie gangs, high Muslim prison population, Muslim intimidation on local councils, etc. Angry face emoji. I particularly like how that comment started with language policing and then ended with, those Muzzies are fucking criminals. And also, I mean, look at all of this. 18C, anybody? I mean, I'm okay with this because I'm only a little dishonest. I lie about normal things to keep social situations smooth, like enjoying Bo Burnham's comedy and not having torture fantasies when I hear his name. I'm not a complete hypocrite, like the people crying over these leaked messages. That being said, I do think in most circumstances, leaking private messages is stupid and trivial, especially if the purpose is trying to catch a faux pas or regulate social interactions. Who cares? That shit shouldn't be in the public domain, but that is precisely what the press are usually cool with. But when a mass group chat containing a trove of messages from influential people who were completely happy to be political actors, demonstrated by the fact that they joined the chat, that's leaked, all of a sudden, leaking messages is now doxing and off limits. Sorry, not playing along with that. The press did the exact same thing with the Barilaro recordings because they came from me. They were all of a sudden a breach of the Surveillance Devices Act. Okay, well, it's been almost 2 years at New South Wales Police. You gonna charge me? No? Well, maybe that was a lie also, designed to excuse lazy journalism, kill a story that was inconvenient to their owners while continuing to delude themselves and their audience that they have standards, and therefore they're perfectly entitled to determine what is the reportable truth. These messages are illuminating, and I'm going to look at them, despite any attempt to hide them with vexatious allegations of doxing and disgusting sob stories about death threats that are coming in the context of Israel killing 40,000 fucking people. Another detour, as one of the handful of people in the Australian media who has had actual experience with both real and fake death threats, let me tell you right now, there is a difference between someone sending a graphic message over a DM and someone burning down your fucking house. This is a message for everyone, not just Zionists. It is a supreme display of narcissism to pretend that every overblown threat or nasty message on the internet is an actual threat. You are crying wolf. There is not one public figure on earth that hasn't received a death threat. Don't be so self-aggrandizing as to pretend that someone would actually go out of their way to kill you over your bog standard opinions. They're too busy trying to kill me for my bog standard opinions. And Palestinian children. Anyway, you know how last week I covered the Zionist Federation taking former SBS newsreader Mary Kostakidis to court under Section 18C of the Racial Discrimination Act because Mary committed the heinous act of sharing a speech from a Hezbollah leader and comparing his rhetoric to the actions of Israel? Well, these messages kind of show how this plan fermented. In response to Mary sharing this video of Rabbi Eliza Castile, the head of a pre-military academy from a West Bank settlement, the Jewish Creatives and Academics chat said, Mary Kostakidis is hell-bent on fostering anti-Semitism. What's her problem and what can we do? Here's the answer, and I can see where the creative part comes from. This is amazing. I think this is going to get edited out, but just play the Seinfeld music. Step 1. She shall be referred to publicly as Mary K.K. Kostakidis. Fuck me, that's brilliant. I'm still going through those new writer applications. Can you send in a script? Writer application should now close. I tweeted underneath, can others please? Perhaps this is suitable for a lawyers group. Which brings me to the more nefarious WhatsApp group, the Lawyers for Israel group, which from what I can understand is very similar to the Creatives for Israel group, but their lawyers are not creatives and therefore they're not complete morons. They were behind a coordinated campaign to oust Antoinette Latouche from the ABC, and the ABC of course sanctioned her whiny culture war grievances against white people, but as soon as she shared a Human Rights Watch report about Israel using starvation as a weapon of war based on hard evidence, and Lawyers for Israel complained, she's now a racist.
Just like white people.
See, this is the one good thing about October 7 and the war it triggered. Well, apart from the cool paramotors. I mean, I'm not sanctioning the killing. I'm just saying Hamas flying in on those things with guns. It's pretty cool. But the other good thing is that we now get to see all these journos who cried racism forever fall over themselves. Pro-Palestinian, pro-Israeli partisans, formerly on a unity ticket accusing others of racism, all now on the receiving end of the culture war inquisition they perpetuated for so long. All accusing each other of racism to further their ideological ends, the snake eating itself, the racism Ouroboros, and as an ophidiophiliac, that gets me hard. It seems Kostakidis was sent to Lawyers for Israel all the way back in December, and now she's being taken to court by the Zionist Federation, whose president Jeremy Lieberler is also claiming he is exploring all legal options regarding the leaking of the Jewish creatives' WhatsApp chat. Priorities in check, Australian press and Zionist Federation. Play victim against the backdrop of an unimaginable bloodbath that you facilitated. Yeah, you're really winning hearts and minds by whinging about imagined slights and cooking up cancellation campaigns and court cases like your fucking Amber Heard cancelling Johnny Depp. Guys, this is war, not fucking #MeToo. There is something seriously off going on at the moment, right? There is a coordinated attempt to criminalise certain speech in Australia from people acting on behalf of a foreign government. In Australia, we should never have to moderate our speech, let alone moderate it to support a foreign country's war of aggression. Unless, of course, that country is Burundi. All praise to Burundi. It'd be a perfect shooting location for Love Guru 2, just saying.